I am so irritated because I was so ready to do my girlfriend's rant, and I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. At least not right now. Hey, Kira. So, the reason why I can't do it this week is because I deleted my notes. I deleted my notes. I wrote full on notes. Like, I wrote extensive notes talking about this show, analyzing the show. And I wrote them, I was writing them as I was watching the show. So it's not something I could just, let me write some more down. It's like, my memory ain't that good. I went on to watch other stuff. My notes are so important. They're so important because that's how I keep my thoughts straight. That's how I, can put out a cohesive video. So when I was going to record today, I was going to look over my notes and go over them a few times before I record the video, and they were gone. So now I need your help. Basically, I want your help because I can't go back and I'm just not going to go back and watch 8 seasons. Well, how many seasons was it? Was it 6? Either way, I'm not going back and watching all of that. So I need your help. For those of you who want this girlfriend's rant, because people keep asking me for it. For those of you who want this girlfriend rant, I need for y'all to tell me what you would like for me to talk about, like storylines, like what do you want to know about certain characters. I already know that I do want to talk about Joan and Tony's friendship, and I want to talk about how toxic that was. I want to talk about Joan's obsession over men. I want to talk about Tony's insecurity that she uses the finer things in life to try to mask. I want to talk about Maya and Darnell's relationship, roller coaster of a relationship. I want to talk about the fact that Lynn really never really, no one took Lynn. Didn't have a true storyline for most of the seasons, like maybe towards the end of the last couple seasons she did, but that's what I want to talk about. But I want to know, can y'all fill in, give me some things that happened, maybe tell me the people that Joan dated, help me rewrite my notes, basically. So Fedora, what happened was I deleted my notes, and I didn't realize I deleted my notes, and so I can't do my rants unless I have my notes, because that's the only way I can, give y'all a good video. But I deleted them. I'm so upset. It seemed like everything been going wrong lately, and that was just the last straw. I was all ready to record them. I was going to edit, and I was going to put it up tomorrow. I was going to, I know that's been a very highly requested rant. Google Drive, I know. Next time, trust me. Usually I take my notes by hand, but I'm trying to get technologically savvy. And that's what happens when you use technology. Sometimes you lose all your work, especially if you didn't back it up. But I'm gonna be all right. Like I said, I just want y'all to whenever I post this as a video, just let me know some things that y'all want me to talk about. when it comes to this show. I need to watch the whole series over. Like, the crazy part is I've watched the whole series maybe 3 times, maybe 3 or 4 times. Not all at once, but just like, I've watched the series more than once. So I know I have a gist of everything, but it's like details that slip my mind that, will help me like solidify certain points. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember all of Joan's boyfriends. Her and Lynn was busy. I know, girl. I know. Maya has some problems, but she made the most sense. I agree. I do. I think she was the most solid out of all of them. But yeah, what I need from y'all is just basically, tell me what y'all want to see in the rant, what y'all want me to talk about in the rant, like, and try to, like, I guess maybe tell me some of your favorite episodes, or like some episodes that are integral to the series. I know the first episode is really important because we see how bad of a friend Toni actually is on the very first episode. Please talk about that horrible ending. Oh, trust me, I will. Trust me. That's like one of the main things I wanted to talk about. What's up, Cliff? So yes, if you've seen the show, if you're a fan of the show, if you want me to talk about the show, give me some details of the show. Like, tell me the boyfriends, tell me like the most toxic moments, tell me yeah. Just help me rewrite my notes, basically. Yeah, I wanted to cry when I couldn't find those notes. I looked on my computer, I looked on my iPad, I looked on my phone, because they're all synced up. And it was nowhere to be found. I hated the last season, throw the whole season away. I know, the best part about that season was the fact that Joan finally got what she wanted, pretty much. But that last season it was like, and then Toni wasn't there. And I'm kind of mad at Jo Marie Payne for leaving the show, because, girl, why? Why would you do that? I hate when people leave like a show that made us love you. Like, we love your character, and you just leave. Like, I feel like the show kind of wasn't good after she left. Sad to say. I mean, her and Joan's friendship is like the main storyline that runs throughout the whole series, like from the first episode. Like, their friendship is like one of the main plots. I never understood why they had a white baby. That was kind of weird. I mean, but you know what? When you have mixed children, that's possible. That's very possible. And the good hair, bad hair, yes. How they rejoice because at least they knew the baby had good hair. Okay, that's a good thing. I was gonna talk about Toni, and there was a particular episode where she was saying how she didn't want to date this man because he was dark skinned, and basically she didn't want to have dark skinned kids. And so it didn't shock me that she played into the whole good hair stereotype when she had her own child. Why she went ahead and married Todd and stuck around and chased after Todd. I mean, I know that was her husband, but I mean, Todd was being real nasty to her at the end. But then again, she was real nasty to him. See, this is why I need my notes, because my notes would just tell me. I wrote down like the timeline. That's my problem. I don't have the timeline. Maybe I'll look online, have like an article or something in this stuff, because I just can't remember. Talk about how Joan couldn't ever have privacy because, thank you. I was going to talk about that too. Like, they just used Joan, period. And Joan was a pushover, so she allowed herself to be used. Like, I feel like Toni set the tone for that because they had been friends for the longest. And that is what Toni did, was use Joan. That was their friendship. in a lot of ways is, she used her. And when she wasn't being beneficial to her, it was kind of easy for her to throw her away. But they all did it. They took advantage of Joan. They took advantage of her house. Maya took advantage of Joan at work. She wasn't doing her job the way she should, the way a professional assistant should. And Joan allowed it. She allowed it. She didn't set boundaries. That you said, I didn't even see you said that, Fedora, but we on the same page. She didn't set boundaries. What's up, Alexis? So yeah, I just need like a refresher, I guess. I wanted to like go through like the fact that Joan, like literally it didn't matter who it was, just Joan just wanted a man. Like she was willing to date the male. She was literally willing to date someone from the mailroom, and she was a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that, but to me it just showed like it really didn't matter who it is. Like Joan would have been with literally anybody. It could have been anybody. But then at the same time, when she would get someone, she would nitpick him to death. Like she would needle him for any little thing he did wrong. It's weird. What's wrong with Toni and Todd? I mean, Toni he pursued Toni, and Toni treated him terribly in the beginning, and then the roles flipped, and she was the one desperate and thirsty for him. But I don't know. I don't think she ever should have married him in the first place, because she did not want him. It's like she wanted his money. But then when he left her, it's like she couldn't handle the fact that, oh, you don't want to be with me? And so she became thirsty and desperate. Remember when she dated the really old guy? Let me tell you, it could have been anybody. She dated Wayne Brady. Joan's bar was in the basement. What? The toxicity at all. Toni was never considerate of Todd's feelings or his person ever. It was all about her. And so when he finally stood up for himself, towards Toni. Oh, now you want him. And how Todd hid the fact that he had mad debts. He tricked her into marrying him, though. He did. He tricked her into marrying him because he put on this false persona that he had money. He didn't. So, I mean, their whole relationship was a lie. I guess at first Toni had a black baby, then the baby turned white. They didn't even try to get a mixed looking baby. I never understood why Lynn was head over heels over the soft punk dude. I don't get that either. But my argument with that is that I don't think Lynn respected herself or knew her worth. Like she had this false sense of confidence through all of her sexual conquests, but she was lost. It's like she was lost, and she felt empty, and she was forever like a vagabond, like going from house to house. She had no stability. She didn't know where she came from. Thank you, Alexis. They're from my website. My eyelashes. But yeah, she was a joke too. Like her friends took her for a joke. They didn't take her seriously, even when she had like serious breakups with like Sabad and what's the other guy's name? She had serious breakups and serious. She was going through some major things, and the only time they took her serious is when she had issues with her parents. But outside of that, they didn't really take her feelings into account for anything. And she was a freeloader, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have feelings. I mean, y'all do call her a friend. And when she had a relationship with the pastor, that was just weird. I didn't understand that at all. His head looked like a rock. All the women are messy, but if you had to pick one, who's your favorite girlfriend? Do I have to pick my favorite? Like, I don't know. Because I like them all for different reasons. If I actually had to be friends with one, I think I would choose Maya. The one that's most entertaining to me, like, I feel like she kept the show entertaining for me, was Toni. Like, if you would have asked me this a few years ago, I probably would have said Joan, but Joan irritated me too bad. Like, she irritated me so bad. Like, she never stood up for herself. Like, when she needed to stand up for herself, like, towards her friends. And then with these men, it was just like, you act like you perfect, girl. Oh yeah, William. I love William. The show wouldn't be the same without William. He's like literally one of the the show wouldn't be anything without William. But his relationship with Joan was trash. I don't know why they did that. That was stupid. That was so dumb. I hated it. Yeah, Joan had some good dudes, but she needed to do work on herself, and it's like she just couldn't live life without being married. Like, that's her only goal in life. She had achieved so much, but she felt like it was nothing because she wasn't married. Y'all don't like William? Come on. William is one of the main, he's one of my favorite parts of the show. He was really funny to me. When Joan started thinking she was a big shot, I think she was like trying to take on the persona of Toni. I think she was trying to emulate what she thought Toni was. And, when Toni was getting a little bit of how she treated Joan back, she couldn't take it. Did y'all talk about Toni and her artist boyfriend? He was annoying. He could not act. Thank you. He definitely could not act. I totally agree with that. He only got casted because of his eyes. I agree. I didn't see his appeal either. When Toni and artist dude got back together for him to screw another woman on the floor, that was one of those moments that was like, wow, I really did not see that coming at all. Like, I feel like they took everybody off guard. Even though it's like, Toni, you should have not. Why would he want you back after what you did? That's kind of like, that's like the narcissism of her like personality. It shows like how narcissistic she was, because girl, why? I don't care what y'all had before. The way y'all ended, why would he ever want you back? Like, not only did you cheat on him, but you could have possibly exposed him to an STD. Why would he ever? You became engaged to someone else. Why would you ever think he would ever want to ever be in a relationship with you again? She wasn't used to all of the attention. No. And Joan wanted attention, because you could tell when she dated Ellis, I think that was a part of the reason why she wanted to date Ellis, is because she, she wanted to walk the red carpet. Oh no, William didn't have any sort of appeal. Now, I ain't trying to say that. I just thought he was funny. William had some strange girlfriends. I think William was also desperate. I think William and Joan mirror each other in a way, because even though he wasn't like as outwardly desperate as Joan was, he didn't want to be alone. Like, yeah, I feel like in a lot of ways, him and Joan were similar in that way. But Yvonne was crazy. She was psycho. When he started creeping on homegirl from the bus stop. Yeah, that was weird. Williams was great, but why did they try to make them date? I don't know. That was like one of the weirdest storylines they ever did. And they made it last way too long. I'm glad they didn't let it ruin the friendship. Like, it lasted maybe a half a season. You must got on contacts. I do. I wish Davis would have been a character longer. I really liked Davis. I don't know why he didn't stick out so much when I watched the show the first couple of times, but this time around, I'm like, why didn't they keep Davis around longer? Because he was very, like, I liked his, like, back and forth with Joan as well. They could have given him more, made him more interesting. William and Joan was a huge no, especially after Lynn was sleeping with him. Exactly. William wanted to be a white man, and I didn't like that. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to be a white man. I think he played the game to get to what he was willing to play the game to get to where he needed to be as successful as possible. But I don't think he was necessarily trying to be a white man. I just think a lot of his hobbies and just the way he was more compatible with white men. They needed to part ways, but I wish they got a proper ending, right? No, Davis was the restaurant owner. Davis reminds me of Stefan Urkel. Stefan Urkel was not sexy. Jaleel White today, though, yes, very much fine, but not back then. I feel like him and Joan could have worked if they would have brought it full circle and brought Davis back, like after Joan had time to work on herself. I feel like that could have been like a beautiful love story. Ew, I hated when Joan dated that show guy too. I was gonna go on a special rant about Ellis. I was gonna go on a special rant about Ellis. I could not stand Ellis. And from the beginning, they should have not been together. First of all, the way most of Joan's relationships started, it was doomed from the beginning. The way most of her relationships started was doomed, okay? The way she started with Sean, trying, like, being thirsty and desperate and trying to make him call her. The way she started with Ellis's agent was jacked up, because y'all felt, how y'all fall that hard? I mean, he wasn't even fine. Um, I mean, like, they fell so randomly and so deeply, and it was Enchanted. If I had to hear Enchanted one more time, oh my goodness, he was so annoying, and I just didn't see the chemistry personally. It wasn't giving what it wasn't giving what they said it was supposed to give. I want my money. Okay, what? Ellis was the actor. The restaurant and bar would have been perfect. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. That would have been perfect. Maybe if Ellis was played by someone else, I could feel it better if he was played by someone else. Her soulmate, ugh. Khalil was a better actor. Thank you. I'm so glad that was like one of the best like Aunt Viv moments was replacing Flex for Khalil, even though it was a little bit, was that a little bit of colorism? I don't know, but he was a better actor. At the end of the day, Flex, when he found out that scene where he found out that Maya had cheated on him and he played those uh voicemails, Flex couldn't give me what I needed in that moment. Khalil did. Khalil gave me everything, all the emotions. He played that part so well. He was Darnell. I felt like I was there. Oh, Khalil was light skinned, but he was better for the role. He was. Because I feel like he was just rugged enough to play someone, like Darnell, who was like a mechanic and, from the hood or whatever. But he still did not mind showing his emotions. I feel like he played that very well. Like, he's so good at that whenever he plays a role like that. I didn't like Ellis's agent. The chemistry was not there. Flex played in the Michael Jackson biopic and as black and white. Yes, white face. Michael, and I cannot with him after seeing that mess. Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. I still like Flex on 101. Like, that's my favorite thing he did. It was 101. So I didn't give up on Flex the way you did, but on Girlfriends, yeah, I did. I'm glad they replaced him. The one who didn't want kids with Joan was, I know, like, I did not get the Enchanted. Like, it wasn't ringing true for me. I didn't see the chemistry. Joan was forcing it, and maybe that's the whole point, was for us to for them to feel like it was that, but for us to see that it really wasn't that. Maybe that was the point, was so that we can be like, okay, y'all are in this fantasy world, and clearly y'all are not supposed to be together. Those brown hazel eyes. What are you talking about, Bria? Stan. Oh, now see, I was gonna go on a whole tangent about Stan too, because the craziest thing about Stan, well, the craziest thing for me was the fact that I did not consider what Maya was doing cheating. Like, when I was younger, I didn't consider what she was doing cheating necessarily, because she, up until he kissed her, I was like, oh, they didn't do anything, they were just hanging out. But no, Maya definitely emotionally cheated on Stan all the way, because you were hiding it from your husband, you had your friends lying. I mean, hated Joan so much was because of the situation. And then they got back on good terms, and then she lied again and had him hating her even more. So, like, yeah, she definitely emotionally cheated on Darnell. But I feel like it was an accurate representation of people who have been in a relationship since high school. Like, they got married really young, and they've been in a relationship so long. I'm sorry, I've seen this same thing play out where they've been together since high school, and after so many years of being together, whether they go to college or it's on down the line, one of them cheat. I've seen it many times, up close and personal, with friends, with people I don't even know that well. Like, it's like they feel like they didn't get to experience life, and they cheat. So I feel like that storyline rung so true in so many ways. I love the way they let that play out with Maya and Darnell, because it was so realistic. They didn't immediately get back together. He didn't forgive her. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't automatically get back with her the next season. Like, it was a few seasons before they could even be on good terms. So that was a good one. Yeah, she got in so deep. And I feel like if she would have just went ahead and confessed, like, this is what I would have done if I was in Maya's shoes. When she walked in the door and saw Stan playing a game with Darnell, she should just confess right then and there. You should let him know right then and there, this man is crazy, and I will explain it all to you. I know you're probably going to be really mad at me, but I have to let you know right now, this man is a psycho, and you probably need to kick his butt. He's crazy. For him to be in here playing the game with you right now, and maybe I wouldn't have said it right then. Maybe I would wait for him to leave. I don't know, but I feel like she should have addressed it right then and there. But for her to let him develop a friendship with Stan was, girl, you let that get way too far. I would have left you too. Maya was dead wrong for that issue. I wish they never got that first divorce. I mean, that's realistic. That's what was supposed to happen. I don't know, and y'all already know, men, they'll hardly ever forgive. Women will be the first one to forgive. Men, they act like it's the end of the world when a woman steps out. And she was dead wrong. And he never stepped out on her. So, he should have reacted. I would have reacted the same way. But men, they have a zero tolerance for cheating now. They don't play that. When Darnell started crying, I know, like, I felt it. And he was completely in the right. He was completely in the right. Came in late. Did you talk about Toni and Joan's relationship? No, Toni and Joan, like, they have a very dependent relationship on one another. Toni is the with the dynamic of the relationship, unless Toni can use Joan is not beneficial to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Joan sets no boundaries. So with anybody, really, except for when she gets into a relationship and she wants to be like extra nitpicky, but like the dynamics of their relationship basically is, you do for me and you get to be my friend. Like, I agree, they all use Joan. And Toni was just very narcissistic. She was very condescending towards Joan, towards the whole group. But Joan got the brunt of it. And then even when Toni would do her wrong, it was just expected for Joan to be right there to pick up the pieces. That's why I wasn't mad at Joan. Like, even when Joan really cut her off, honestly, the show wouldn't have been able to continue going, but she should have kept her cut off, because the first episode, she showed up with her ex at her own birthday party. Trash. But when Toni showed up to her house after Greg cheated on her in her own home, I'm sorry, if I was Joan, I'd probably do the same thing. Like, why do I always have to be the one to pick up your pieces? Why are you at my house right now? William was hilarious. I think Joan and Toni were competing with each other. Well, yeah, there was a competition there. That's why when Joan got the chance to be the it girl, she let it go to her head, because she always wanted to be that what Toni was. Like, I really feel like she was emulating Toni, and she even said it, like, kind of like, you've had your turn. Let me bask in this. Let me have this. I finally get to get the expensive cars. I finally get to do this and do that and be on, the list to get into the party. Whereas that was Toni at one point, Joan lets all her friends walk all over her, and they do nothing for her. Nothing. William added a good balance to the group dynamic. When Toni tried to make Joan believe her sex addict man cheated on her with... Right. Like, they should have ended the friendship right there. That should have been it. Like, I would have been done. And she was so easy to forgive Toni. She was so easy to forgive Toni. Like, that's why I say they were codependent, because she felt like she needed Toni. And I think it goes to show, like, just because you've been friends with somebody for years, that doesn't mean you need to remain friends. They were toxic. And she got slapped all over Jamaica by Toni. Exactly. Like, when in actuality, I mean, she told old dude that she was cheating on her. And Joan probably did have a big mouth. But at the end of the day, you were the one cheating. Like, she was like literally taking out all her frustration out on Joan. I think Joan liked to feel needed. No, they didn't do anything for her, but they did satisfy her need. I can see that too, because she liked to be like the mother of the group, and like cook and, give them a place to stay. As much as she said she didn't like it, she, that Toni will never forgive Joan for Greg, even though it was her fault. Right. The way Toni treated Maya, oh yeah, she treated her like a dog. But I like the fact that Maya, she never stood for that. Toni never took accountability. Was Joan wrong for missing the court case? Yes, but out of all the times that Joan had been there for Toni, out of all the times that Toni had done Joan wrong and like done her like real dirty, and Joan forgave her, for Toni to not even want to hear her out, when once again, the reason why they were even in court fighting over custody for that child is because of Toni's actions. Yes, Toni was definitely experiencing postpartum. So I don't want to like make it seem like, she wasn't going through anything. She was, but it was her actions that led to that point. So yes, if you're looking at it from a friend standpoint, Joan should have been there. She was being selfish by even going out. Like, you should have made sure that you was there. But at the same time, Toni should have at least been willing to hear her out and been a little bit more forgiving. She didn't miss it on purpose, but it's just the fact that you knew this was so important. You should really do everything you can to make sure you are there. That episode was hard to watch. That was like, ooh, that was so hard to watch. But Tracy, she acted that episode out so well. Like, she played desperate so well. That was a really good episode. Remember when Joan freaked out at Toni getting married before her? It was a competition. You're right. Joan just wanted to get married, and she lost her mind anytime somebody else was getting married. Like, even when Maya was renewing her vows, she lost her mind. Like, she would just lose it. She was short circuit. I missed most of this, and I've been waiting on the girlfriend's rant. The girlfriend's rant is coming. So if you came in here late, basically what I'm trying to do, I lost my notes. I'm still hurt that I lost my notes. It hurts me to say that. But I accidentally deleted them, and they're gone, and I need my notes to do my rants. And I just spent so much time on like writing the notes, and I wrote the notes as I was writing the season, so it's hard for me to just go back and write them again because I can't remember every single detail that happened over like that many seasons. And so basically I'm doing this live so y'all can kind of like help me refresh my memory and like tell me some things that you want me to talk about during the rant. Maybe tell me like some relationships that Joan had with these men, because that's like the main thing I'm gonna talk about with Joan is her being man crazy, and like Joan and Toni's toxic relationship, Toni being basically a narcissist and a bad friend, and her terrible relationship with her husband, Maya and Darnell's relationship and dynamic, and just I guess Lynn's lack thereof. I mean, she didn't really have much character development, but just like kind of like tell me what you want to see. Joan needed to go to therapy. She did, but it's like she only went because of what was happening with Toni. I don't think she was actually going to like better herself. Like she needs to go for the right reasons. I said the same thing. Joan looked so unattractive to me by the end of the show. It took me a minute to dissociate Tracy from Joan. I usually don't have a hard time separating like the actor from the character. The only person that's really difficult for me with that is that guy that played all those terrible roles, played on Women That Are Loosed, and you know who I'm talking about. He played Martin Luther King in one movie, but yeah, he plays like the most evil, awful roles you can think of. It's hard for me to separate him. Toni was a tad crazy for telling Joan not to go to a therapist because the therapist was telling her to stop being friends with Toni, and Toni didn't want to lose her lapdog. If we talk about this stupid plot with Lynn and the fake lesbian, I wasn't even going to address that. I thought that was so stupid. The stuff they did with Lynn, they made her into a joke. Like she was a literal joke. Her story. The only time we took Lynn serious or her friends took her serious is when it came to her her trying to find her mother and her dad. But other than that, Lynn was a joke. Didn't nobody take her serious. I think overall Girlfriends was still good after Toni left, but season 8 was a waste. I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't as good as it was before. I hated y'all. We haven't talked about the awful weaves. Y'all, let's give them a little grace because this was the early 2000s and the weave technology wasn't where it is today. So I feel like Glenn was good at directing movies but didn't have the push. Yeah, I don't think she had the discipline. I don't think she had the discipline just to like stay on one topic. I like Tracy Ellis Ross too. Clifton Powell, yes. Ugh, he plays the worst roles known to man. Expect somebody not to associate that with him. Like you always play the villain. Can we get into narcissistic friends? Oh, child. I know. Joan was willing to take any proposal. I know. She wanted to marry that Asian and didn't even know, like, it hadn't even been like a month. Yeah, I didn't like her stepmom either. Lynn's stepmom. What about William and Monica? Honestly, I think they brought Monica back to replace Toni. Clearly, they wanted, they needed another girlfriend for the show. I feel like that's kind of like what they were trying to do. But I feel like once Monica and William went their separate ways, I think they should have stayed their separate ways. Like I think in real life, I don't think Monica would have ever went back to William. And William just continued to embarrass her. Like at their wedding, what happened at their wedding? Didn't it come out that he really didn't want to marry her or something like that? William didn't deserve Monica, even though Monica low-key was a gold digger from the beginning. Eventually, she really did develop feelings for this man, and he did her terribly. Like, he was not a good. When she told him that she was pregnant, he didn't even react well. Like, I don't know. William wasn't the best partner. Like I say, him and Joan reflect each other to me in so many ways. Toni stayed disrespecting Jabari name. I didn't like that. It was, to me, that was another like way she was condescending or a little bit anti-black. Like, just get the boy name right. Like, I bet you if his name was, I don't know, Russian, and it was a difficult name to say, like something like Carolina Poroskova, we can learn how to say that, but we can't learn how to say Jabari, or we can't learn how to say Chapatatui. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn how to say people's names. I don't care if you think they're not up to par, but the only reason why you don't think they're up to par is because of what white people want you to feel about that, basically, in a lot of ways. Now, some names are difficult to say, but I think everybody's name is worthy of being said because, or learned to be said correctly, because they didn't name themselves. Respect people in their names. Especially since he was a child, that really made me want to fight her. Exactly. It was hard for me to dissociate Michael Ealy for Color Girls. My cousin Caitlin, she still to this day cannot stand Michael Ealy. She don't like him. She don't trust him. Anytime I bring him up, she always talk about that movie. That movie, like, that part of the movie really struck a chord, like, with people and him. And then he went on to play another psycho in another movie. That didn't help. He do kind of look like a psycho, though. The way he be staring them eyes. He has beautiful eyes, but yeah, that doesn't help. Can we talk about the episode where Toni didn't want to date that dark skin man? Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Toni had a problem with colorism. She was low-key a colorist and low-key anti-black. So it makes sense that she wouldn't try to say his name right. Because she felt like his name was ghetto and she didn't want to get it. She didn't want to get it, you know? She was clowning him. I wasn't totally against Toni marrying Todd. I felt like that could have been a good discussion about interracial marriage, but they made their marriage a joke. I feel like it was low-key a joke from the beginning because she never respected Todd. And it was clear that in many ways she was just using him for money, especially around the time of the wedding and what she was planning for the wedding. You know, she was talking down to him the whole time. And then their relationship was also based on a lie. We talked about this earlier, but because he turned out to not have the money he said he had. I had nightmares about him dropping these two babies. I was too young to be watching that. Yeah, on that movie, like, I feel like everybody in the theater, we all did a collective. Like, that was a horror movie. That was a horror movie. They did not mark that movie correctly. That was a horror movie. Okay? That should have been in the horror category. That was an African American horror movie for our community. Mm-hmm. She made fun of him from his height to his money. Mm-hmm. Toni was a product of colorism. It's hard for me to blame her for not wanting to be with a darker man because of how the black community treated her. I agree. I agree with that to a certain. I agree with that too. Like, the way, like, if you've experienced colorism, you wouldn't want that for your child. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, the rhetoric that she was spewing is still poison. Like, it's like you're still you're continuing it. You know what I'm saying? Toni was just shallow. She was very much so. Like, that was her. She was very shallow. OMG, you went to see that in the movie theaters. God bless you. I could never. We didn't know. Like, I went to go see that with my friends. We did not know that movie was going to be like that. I doubt I would have ever went to go see that movie had I known what the movie was going to be about. Now, mind you, I know that it comes from some writing or what, like what is it? Did it come from the vagina monologues or something like that? I don't know. I knew that it was based off of something like that, but I didn't go watch it, so I didn't know. I had no idea it was that terrible of a movie. It was awful. I will never watch it again. It's one of those movies I don't ever have to see that movie ever again. Right along with Precious. I will never, and sad to say, I went to go see Precious for my 18th birthday. I watched one of the worst movies you could ever see in life for my 18th birthday. Needless to say, I will never watch that movie ever again either. Oh, I love Jennifer Lewis too. I just love her, period. In anything she plays, she like steals the show, basically. One episode I can't watch is the Kimberly Elise. Yeah, I can't lie. I skip over that one too. That is, once you watched it once, I get it. It needed to be made. I'm glad they made it, and I'm glad I watched it the first time. But I can't. It was too hard. When Lynn was filming her documentary, sis did her monologue. I was speechless. Seriously. I'm glad they did that because, you know, it really was an epidemic. I mean, I haven't done the research, but I'm sure that it's still something that is very serious in our community. So, y'all remember when Toni walked in on Greg cheating? Yeah, we talked about that. Still haven't watched Precious. Can't bring myself to do it. You don't have to. It's one of, like, if you're very sensitive to people being abused and things like that, it's not necessary for you to watch. Mr. Hitman 1, I hope you get the publicity you were looking for. But yeah, like, those Precious and For Color Girls, those type of movies, I that was trauma. I never need to experience ever again in my entertainment. I don't mind watching dramas and stuff like that, but that level, I don't. That's a little bit too much for me. I know the game was a spinoff of Girlfriends. I wish they would have incorporated that show more with Girlfriends, like more crossovers. Joan and Melanie needed each other. No, they didn't. They were both toxic. I feel like they would just give each other more tips on being toxic. I mean, Melanie was just fruit off of Joan's tree in a way. Like, the way she would be so neurotic about things. Thank you. Precious was just triggering for me. I saw it when I was like 12. Yeah, I had no business watching that, and I was 18. Even when they see us having watched it, and I think I need to watch it with someone next to me because I won't be able to. Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen worse. So, like, what's that movie Michael B. Jordan was in? Man, I can't remember. Y'all remember that movie Michael B. Jordan was in, and I don't want to ruin the ending, but he was playing this guy, Fruitvale Station. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like it's along the lines of that movie. I feel like oh, When They See Us. I keep confusing When They See Us with that movie that Amanda Steinberg was in, The Hate You Give. I'm sorry. When They See Us, I haven't seen When They See Us, and I most likely won't, because that I know of that story, and I don't have to see it played out. I don't have to see. I know they did a good job acting it out, but oh my goodness, yeah, I can't. I can't with that. When They See Us, it's hard but very necessary to watch. I wanted to scream. I was so hurt for them. Maybe one day, like you said, if I get somebody to watch it with me, maybe. But just sitting there watching myself, I don't know. All those years, Joan would cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them. Then when her restaurant was going under, they were eating for free, but Joan needed to stand up for herself. Exactly. Joan was a doormat. Joan was a doormat. And it just feels like something went wrong with her upbringing. I know that her parents were divorced. I feel like they should have went into more detail, because at the end of the day, I feel like the show was based around Joan. So I feel like they should have went into a little bit more in depth of why Joan is the way she is. I know that on one episode they went through her stuff and they said that, you know, that's why she went so hard for the holidays was because of her family being split up. But I need some more information, because Joan, she was a doormat. She let people walk all over her, and she just wanted to be needed, like someone mentioned earlier. Girl, I watched Fruitvale Station in class, in a sociology class in college, full of white people. When I tell you I was the only one crying, their eyeballs were dry like the Sahara. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at dry as the Sahara. But yeah, that was such a difficult movie because, first of all, they really sucked you in the beginning. I really didn't expect what happened in the end at all. I don't know why, but I didn't expect that. And yeah, I definitely cried. That was a hard watch. Do you watch Living Single? Yes, I love Living Single. I've done a rant on Living Single versus Friends, and how Friends basically was a ripoff of Living Single. So if you want to hear me talk about that, I have a video on that. But I think I do want to do like its own rant of Living Single, just talk about the show by itself, because it was so good, and I feel like it was so realistic. And I don't know, I love the dynamic between Kyle and Max, and just everybody on the show was their own character. Joan was a people pleaser, and her mom seemed really critical of her. She does. And was it Loretta Devine who was the mama? Ooh, she delivered. Show did. Was that Loretta Devine? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. The same man that played Khadijah's dad also played Joan's dad, which is crazy because they were the same character on their shows. Who was the same character? New Subbie here. Hi. But on a lighter note, y'all remember when Tony's brother looked at himself in Mara's bathroom and was singing his heart out? That was like one of the funniest episodes ever, when he was, and I am telling you. Maya, what did you do to him? I love that they had Eddie Winslow playing him too. That was a good episode. And they couldn't hardly get him out of that bathroom. Um, they had somebody else playing Toni's brother at her wedding, but it was Eddie Winslow whenever he came to visit Maya. Khadijah was a way better character. Khadijah and Joan were main characters that everyone leaned on. Okay, I can agree with that. I was going to say, I don't know how Khadijah and Joan are the same, but I do agree that they were the main character of the show, and everybody did lean on them. But I don't think Khadijah was a people pleaser the way Joan is, and she set her boundaries. Like, if I'm asleep, I'm asleep. Leave me alone. You know, don't go in my room. She did not mind setting her boundaries. She wasn't man crazy. She was very much focused on her career more than anything. And if the man fits in there, okay. But I think the only person that she kind of would lose her mind over was Scooter. But that was like her, that was like her soulmate in so many words. Screaming, Fedora. I'm not reading that out loud. Khadijah was not going for half of what Joan put up with. She just wasn't. And I liked Khadijah because of that. Like, she wasn't gonna have it. Like, with that whole, do you think if Joan had to put up with Regine and that whole situation that happened, do you think it would have went that way at all? Like, she would have walked all over Joan. I mean, because basically Regine and Toni were very much alike. Now, if you're gonna compare somebody, you can compare Toni and Regine. They were like on the same wavelength. I like Regine better. I do think Regine, I think she tried to change. Like, she had a little bit more character development than Toni did. I just mean she was the glue that held the group together. They were all friends through them. Okay. I could see not their personalities. Okay, I see what you mean. Yes, I connected to Maya's character the most. I mean, to be honest, let's see, who do I connect to? I don't know. Like, I see the worst parts of myself in Joan a little bit. I'm not a people pleaser, but when it comes to like being extremely nitpicky to men, sometimes I can be that way. I don't know. Like, I don't really identify with one of them. I didn't like how they overdid the gay man's character. I forgot his name. Peaches. Yeah. He was literally a stereotype, pretty much. I mean, like, uh, uh Peaches was just messy. Who was it? It was Peaches and Ronnie. And Maya did Ronnie wrong. She did Ronnie wrong because if it wasn't for Ronnie, she wouldn't have had that book deal. She wouldn't have the book deal she had. So she did Ronnie wrong. I'm glad that she ended up giving him his props at the end of the day because she did do him dirty. Waldo Geraldo Faldo playing Peaches. It reminds me of when they had Kel playing that flamboyant gay guy on the Parkers. Messy boots. Yeah, they didn't humanize him. He was literally a trope. She did do Ronnie wrong, and Ronnie was like, girl, it's not about the money, it's about the principle. Exactly. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't, like, that was a career. They gave her a career because before that, you were an assistant. And nothing wrong with that, but you were able to make a living off of this book and at least get this man his props. Oh, Mr. Sweetelson, he was giving very much Michael from The Office. I felt like Joan and Davis were a good match and should have ended up together. He was the only one that fit her expectations. We talked about that earlier, especially since she wanted to own a restaurant as well. That would have been a nice full circle moment if she would have came back to him. They would have ran back into each other since she loved, running back into people and having signs and soulmates. That firm William and Joan worked for was trash. But I feel like I'm glad they had a Mr. Sweetelson because that is a very accurate portrayal of how a lot of those older white men be acting and be treating their black employees. If anything, William and Joan should have started a firm together. I could see that. But I don't know. I don't know if I would. I don't know if Joan would have stepped out to do that with William. I think William would have done it, but I don't know if Joan would have stepped out with him. She seemed like she wasn't as secure with her position in the law firm or with being a lawyer. Like when he needed her to back her up, she didn't. So I don't think she would step out with him like that. I would have called corporate on Mr. Sweetelson. Shoot, he probably got so many strings. You probably would have been the one that got fired. You know what I'm saying? Especially back during that time. Like now, with some of that stuff, Mr. Sweetelson did, he might would have, get the Me Too movement on his butt because he was doing some very inappropriate stuff. She didn't love the law. She didn't. That's why she was so easy to drop it. It would have been a better storyline than dating. Okay, yeah. Her and William starting a firm, that would have been better. I do not want to see them together ever. Ew, that was nasty. Maya dating the baseball player with the fake accent. That was a nice little tenor they threw up in there. He was cute. That was a cute little storyline for Maya to, get back out there. Lynn was so underrated. I hate how they did her on the show. They did do her dirty because she was a joke. Like I said, she was a joke. Like her storyline didn't hold any weight. Like even her relationships, no one took her serious. And in a lot of ways, Lynn didn't take her own self serious. So I mean, how can we take you serious if you didn't take your own self serious? But that's the way her character was written. I'm sorry I'm late. Why can't you do your rant? So I'm just gonna say this one last time. I deleted my notes. That's why I'm doing this live so y'all can refresh my memory on the show and tell me what y'all want me to talk about and all that, so I can get my notes back together. When Maya went on a date with a security guard, he was looking for a come up and ended up with Sharon. You know what? I'm glad Sharon ended up with somebody because William was messing with. See, this is what I mean by William didn't treat these women right. He was trying to control Yvonne, even though Yvonne was crazy. You supposedly love her. He tried to control her. Monica, he didn't do her right. He played her so many times, like in so many ways, lied to her and everything. Sharon was a rebound, really. I mean, he didn't treat her right either, even though Joan kind of threw a wrench in that. Yeah, and I think he just wasn't a good partner, really. And that whole thing with Joan, just, ugh, why? William shouldn't have dated or married none of them. No. I think the only reason why him and Lynn hooked up is because, like I said, William act like he can't be alone. He gets so lonely. And low key, so was Lynn. Refresh me why William married Lynn, because he was trying to beat Joan. I believe this is when Joan was with her enchanted love and they were running off to get married, and the guy didn't even know they were doing that. In her mind, she was going to go get married, and he wanted to beat her. So he married Lynn to beat Joan. Joan treated Iraq dude so poorly. I wanted this man to run. Child, I know. But I feel like Joan, her ugly side came out, but I think she was willing to change. Whoo, I already talked about Toni and Todd, so you might have to, once I repost this, maybe you'll have to go back because we talked about them for a while. I don't think he lost his life in Iraq. Hopefully. Yeah, they could have kept that Big Willie thing ill. As a Jamaican, I want to say Vasco's accent made me violent. Why wouldn't they actually get someone Jamaican? I knew it sounded off. I mean, I'm no expert on Jamaican accents, but it did sound like somebody who was putting on their best Jamaican accent. Why couldn't they just find like an actual Jamaican person? I don't know. I was looking at it sideways and I'm Haitian. William was so used to controlling the entire relationship. When he got with Monica, he was low key turned off by how independent she was. Ooh, good point. Good point. The fact that Lynn named the dog Vasco, Vasco was a dog. He was a dog. So that was very accurate. He was a dog. He used Lynn for as much as he could use her for. And when she didn't support him with being a bum, he wanted to leave her. What? And then when she ran into him and he didn't even want to talk to her, I was like, you are legitimate trash. You don't even want to have a conversation with this woman after she took care of you. The only reason why you're in America is because of her. Now, they did start off leeching off of Joan, but she ended up having to get a job and taking care of this man. They were both bums, but she stepped up and got a job. I didn't like when Monica, even though, you know what? Now that you say that, it might have been karma for all those years of her being a bum to Joan. Oh, I didn't like it when Monica became desperate to fit in with the girls. I didn't like that either because the whole thing about Monica, is that she's confident. You know what I'm saying? She's confident. She didn't think she need to fit in. Like, I don't care if y'all don't like me. I'm here and I'm here to stay. And that's what we like about Monica. And yeah, I don't like the way they made her desperate, but she was desperate staying with William. She was desperate. When Lynn's sister had that black scent and AAV in her mouth, I was ready to jump through the screen. She got on my last nerve too, but I'm glad they did an episode. You know what? This show's so ahead of its time, like addressing things like that. They might not have used the verbiage we have now, but that's very much so a thing. And this is something that is being called out a lot now. So yes, that was so annoying to me too. And the worst part is she didn't even grow up like that. You can't even blame it on the fact that, oh, that's how I grew up. No. Lynn don't even act like that. She's the one that's at least half black. When Toni left, they tried to make Monica the fourth girlfriend. I said that earlier, and I'm like, no, don't force it like this. I hate the fact they tried to force her into Toni's spot. Lynn was bummy. She always leashed off of friends and had several degrees and never a job. Her parents literally had to force her to get a job, like a 9 to 5. And Joan, like, literally had to kick her out. And the only reason why she kicked her out is because she got a boyfriend and she wanted to move in. She took it a step too far. I guess Joan learned her boundaries then. And so she was forced to work at the restaurant, that Chinese food restaurant. The suit scene when they made Lynn put on that suit made me realize everyone isn't made for. Yeah, I agree with that. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get to where you want to be. Thank you. My lashes are from my website. What's up? Monica was mean, but I feel like there was a defense mechanism, because for her to go from like super mean to like desperate for friends, obviously it must have been a defense mechanism. Do you think Joan was classist and egregious? Yeah, she was pretty classist and egregious. The way she treated Maya during her wedding, Maya's mom never liked Joan. And neither did Darnell, really. They never really liked Joan. I think towards like the last few seasons, they warmed up to her a little bit, but Joan low-key reminded me of Moesha, the way she thinks she's better than her friends. I think she thinks she knows better than her friends. Whereas Moesha, I think Moesha really did think she was better. But I think because Joan grew up the way she did, she thinks she knows better, and she's trying to like, I don't know, show that she knows better. Child, go to my Moesha rant. We've discussed that at length. Monica was goofy, but she wait. I love Maya's mom too. She was a beautiful woman. Oh, y'all, I've been on here for way longer than I expected to be. But thanks y'all for helping me. Like, this really did help me a lot. It jarred my memory, and now I can come up with another outline for my rant. Most likely the girlfriend's rant, I'm gonna try to get it out by next week. Maybe I'll like go ahead and do the Dream Girls rant I want to do. Either I'll do the Dream Girls or I'll do the Love and Basketball rant I wanted to do this week, and I'll do Girlfriends next week. But the rant might be late this week, so don't be looking for it like tomorrow. What else? Married at First Sight. I'm going to be putting that video up Thursday. I'm going to be going live Friday to talk about the show as well. And everybody that like my lashes, they are on my website, Libby DeRosa Style. You can get them. They're in the style. Ooh, that's bad. I can't remember. I think they're in the style. This is a shame. I'm terrible at promoting my own stuff. Hold on. Flashy. They're in the style flashy. And I just sold out a classy, but I'm going to try to restock as soon as possible. And yeah, I hope Married at First Sight gives us something this week too. I can't wait to see Chris get married to Paige. Hopefully he has a decent response. But yeah, thank you so much for helping me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.